All right, let's try this. Here, we'll do the video file here. Try this here. All right. Good morning. Dang. I went live a few minutes ago, but notifications weren't going out. Nobody was showing up. So if I'm going to do that, I might as well just do a recorded video. So let some more people then in here and start talking about stuff that who knows if I know what I'm talking about. It's if you're catching a replay, I appreciate it. We're going to go over some weather stuff. The weather seems to be, I think if you're in Wisconsin, I think it's going to be a hell of a ride. So it might be my internet connection as well. Seems like YouTube is being slow. So anyways, good morning, everybody. I hope all is well. I hope you had a good weekend. If you had to work, I hope it was profitable and it made you some money. And yeah, so we'll do the 5-minute today. All right. So I hope everyone is safe and sound. There's a lot of wind. There's some wind alerts going on in my state. So if you're pulling an empty trailer, it's going to be a little bit more difficult today. So we'll get some more people in here. So last night we had an interview with Daniel Summers, and we had him on the channel. Let me find that. And we talked about truck insurance, and I think it went over well. Not a whole lot of people in there, but that's kind of the gist with Sunday nights. Sunday nights usually don't do well for me. Let me share the screen here. So if you don't mind, check out my video last night that I did. I did all the right things. Well, I didn't do a thumbnail, but I did put it in my community page, and I put, I schedule it upcoming, and it's one of those deals. Here's the paradox of YouTube. Social media in general, really. You do something that could be very informative and helpful, and you're lucky to get 100 hits. But if I do something stupid and or rant or I don't know talk about nothing, you got 500 people in there. So, but that's how it is now. Obviously, Truck Insurance is the name of the YouTube channel, and they've got 14,600 subscribers, so that's really good. I'd never heard of their channel, and it's kind of surprising that the YouTube algorithms never told me about this in the homepage. So, anyways, Daniel Summer, he was really good. He was generous. He said afterwards that he enjoyed it and wants to do it again. So, if you guys want to see more stuff with the insurance guy, then we can do that. So, so um, so I appreciate everybody that showed up and showed some support. I really do. So, um, so it was fun. It was officially my first real interview. I mean, I know I interviewed Greg, on you know handling a receiver that's being irate with you. We did that, but like that was my first real live interview, and so I hope everybody enjoyed it. Um, I tried to seem like I was smarter than I am, so hopefully that came out okay. So all of this is wind warnings. So they just had this line of storms that just it came through here about 3 in the morning. I gotta I gotta go around the yard and check, make sure how many trees and branches are still are still doing their thing, and make sure that nothing's blowing across the street. It's still pretty windy right now, as you can see on the alerts. Um, if you're up here in the upper Wisconsin, they're dealing with some major ice going on up there. So, and then of course, this has all been jacked up for a while. I have friends that are stuck on I-5 and can't get anywhere, and there's a lot of great YouTube footage of what's going on up there. So, and it looks like Michigan's under a winter weather advisory as well. Then the Northeast is going to get a lot of this as well. So, this is a red flag warning. So, you can't be burning anything down there, but this will be fun. This will make driving interesting. This is the most concentrated part besides the Northeast that everybody drives in. So, except you don't have a whole lot, especially when you're doing 70 on Indiana and Ohio. There's not a whole lot of trees to break things up. So, but anyways, let's get to the comments here while you guys stare at that weather. Mr. Bill, good morning. Thank you for showing up. CDN, top of the morning, Steve. Great job last night. Thank you. I want to do well because look, the guy's an insurance dude, and so he's probably really busy. He had mentioned in our live feed last night that he had been up working until 2 a.m. the day before. So and to be an insurance adjuster, especially this day and age, would or not a adjuster, an agent, really have to know your stuff, or else you can put yourself in some potentially legal hot water if you do something wrong. So there's a lot of knowledge there. So great resource. So check out the YouTube channel Truck Insurance and tell Danielle I sent you. Diane Bree, good morning. Good to see you, my friend. Let's take the world by the GoDaddies and live life to the fullest. Be a dying breed and a sea of sheep. Mr. Charles, what's up? Good morning from Lubbock, Texas. We'll be cleaning up the dirt that blew in last night before loading this afternoon. Yeah, this wind, the wheel burner, good to see you. I missed your extravaganza with Sterling Saturday night. Don Schonger, hello. Chucker Bill, good morning. Good morning, Jerome. It was a good show last night. Thank you, Jaywalk. I appreciate that. Desert Oak Pam, good morning. James Best, word up. Greg Zimmer, good morning. There was no drama, so nobody watches. That's kind of the deal, man. And I'm willing to accept that. That one guy. There's always Rumble, the real news. We were waiting for the normals. Word Up Burner, SST. Good morning, everyone. Great interview last night. Thank you, Shannon. I'm glad you appreciated it. Going to be in rain all day. So you're back in the truck? Just finished re-listening to the insurance interview. We're very well done. Suggest soliciting questions for insurance guy every live and collect, categorize, giving us a chance to pre-think. That would be good. That's a great idea, Pigtail. Morning, Snorelord in chat. Jason. Killian's Trucking, Alabama, headed to Chicago with a fresh load of chicken. Hope all is well. Well, Chicago will be well with your chicken. Brian Zarling, good week for a vacation. It's always a good week for a vacation. You're right, Brian. Picking up paper rolls in South Carolina to deliver in Ohio by tomorrow morning. Looks like it's going to be a windy trip. Glad I'll be heavy today. Good deal. It looks like, you're going to be running through all that all day. So your fuel mileage is going to be like 5, especially with rolls of paper. But at least you'll be heavy. That's the main time I don't mind having a heavier load is when it's super windy out. It's another reason why I don't put skirts on my trailer. I'll put them on when the government mandates it, but that's it. Sage, good morning. Pale Rider is learning how to sleep in some. He is. Tolka, good morning. Yep, getting loaded now, heading to Ohio. Daniel Ross, awesome interview. Great job. Snowing here in Providence. Big tech and mainstream media is the enemy. I agree. Tolga, what's up? You're actually driving? Yep. Yeah, James Best is in the truck. Look, Oser had some health issues, and James has got to do what he needs to do to survive. So, so that there's nothing wrong with that. So, so let's go over some low board stuff. I really don't have a whole lot to report. Last week was light in the dispatch world. I did have a last minute someone, hey, book me a load. So I didn't really see. Monday was tough last week because of President's Day, and my email didn't go off once. Like I didn't realize brokers took, President's Day off, and so there wasn't much, and hopefully that was bottom because there was a lot of rates that I was seeing that I was like, ugh. And especially in my area, I know my area pretty good, and I was not impressed with what the low boards looked at like to me. And we talked about it this last week. You need to book ahead. That's the word. You're not going to get any more money at the last minute. Trust me on this. Unless you want to go west. That's the key. If you want to go, let's say you're in Arkansas and you want to go up to Wisconsin, or you want to go up to Michigan, or you want to go Ohio, and you're trying to book the day of, that's not going to happen. And if it does, it's going to be super cheap. You'll have no leverage. But there'll be plenty of loads going to Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, Montana, Nevada, Arizona, and because no one else wants to do that. And so if you're willing to do that, there's some money on those loads, but not much more. So it all depends on what your strategies are and what your needs and what your wants are. And that's the pattern I'm seeing. So the one of the crappiest things that can happen to you right now is you book ahead and then the load cancels on you. Now you're trying to book last minute, and you're probably going to end up losing the day pretty much. That's happened more than once. Uh, Jose, good morning from Dallas. I had to get out of my lane. If you want to learn everything about Freight Broker and Sage, put it into a 6-hour podcast. Have pen and paper ready. Yeah, I saw that. I saw the length of the video. So, but yeah, that'll be something that could be listened to in the background if you want to learn. Shannon says, "Congrats, James." David Edwards, good morning. David, uh, yeah, good morning. I thought I had some info for you, but I might have been thinking about someone else. Your beard is looking good for Ramadan. That's funny. So let's take a look at the 123 low board and see what kind of volatility we're looking at. Let's take a look at my area, shall we? Actually, we'll do the hot market map back. We'll do that first. Load availability. Now, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns with the 123 low board, I believe that the 123 low board people will be at Matt's this year. They weren't last year because of the Canadian vid rules, but this year I believe they're doing it. So, oh. Now if you're on the app on your phone, you're only going to get the density list, but it's there regardless. So you can see. So you put it on, let's say van, apply, and you can see the states that have the highest numbers right off the bat. So you don't need to look at the maps. Like here, Florida's got 624 inbound, 485 outbound, which isn't, it's not a bad ratio for Florida, really, to be honest. Illinois got 771 inbound, 834 outbound. So let's go back to the density map. That's why I like, 123's got some great tools. If you're new to the spot market, it's got, and especially if you're with underfunding, you can see the pre-approval right then and there, whether the broker is factorable or not. See, Arizona is usually red. I don't know, I might be wrong on that, but a lot of stuff, and it gives you a good glance of where everything in the state's going. Like here's Goodyear, Arizona, Spring Lake, Michigan. There's a few of those. Um, the average rate is $1.79. They don't have a posted rate, 40,000 pounds, and you're looking at 1,962 miles. So it if you look at your daily rate, man, it's not what it used to be, definitely. But Arizona's always been soft. Here you go, pre-approved by Thunder, and then trans credit scores 97, 30 days to pay. And so you can kind of see the trends. As you can see, Arizona doesn't change a whole lot. So now it used to be your best bet was to get something short to Dallas, but Dallas wasn't that great volume wise last time I was looking at it. A lot of loads going to Oklahoma. Here's Phoenix to Manuka, Illinois. That average is a little bit higher. Axle Logistics, I do a lot of freight with them. They've been pretty good. That would be the load I would get if you just wanted to take something long to get out of Arizona, because that will stage you in a good area. Here we go. There's another one. Prescott, Arizona to St. Louis. It actually picks up today. So this might be one that you might. Oh, LTL. Never mind. So that's going to be a partial. You don't want that. I don't mess with partials. I'll do a load that's multiple stops, but as far as like trying to add two or three different loads with three with raycons, that's just it's too much for my little brain to handle. And I've always seemed to have bad luck with those when I would try to do them at Schneider. Schneider would have those, and one time I had a 3 pickup load that was paying really good, and I get to the second pickup and told them what was up, and they're like, okay, and then I go to close the doors and it's loaded all the way to the back. I'm like, this is kind of a problem. So I had to call Schneider, and then it took them like 2 hours to decide for me to finally just deliver the load. It was going to like Dollar General or something like that, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Take it to the yard, lose all this revenue, and then you decide to deliver it? I mean, the customer just needs to be notified not everything was on this trailer. It was kind of a stupid deal. And that happened like 2 or 3 times. After that, I was like, man, I'm not. Multiple pickups. I know they could be sketchy. Now, in the reefer world, I've had one of the trucks that I dispatch do 2 pickups on apples, but usually the places are like 10 miles apart, and it's not a big deal. But for the most part, I try to avoid multiple pickups. This truck and life. Good morning, y'all. Regarding rates, shippers and influence more than you may think. I had 14-foot flatbed partial from Georgia to Alberta. I quoted and shipper budgeted to move for half my quote. It took a week, but moved it. Will AI be able to calculate an accurate lowball rate? Yes, it's already doing that. The insurance chat was very informative. David Edwards. Yeah, there's a lot to this game. I know that you're a fresh CDL school, but there's a lot to this game. It's not and here's the warning to you new drivers. It's not just a matter of sign the dotted line and boom, now you're a business owner. They want to make you think it's that simple. Well, now you're the boss. You can do what you want. Here's your choice of 3 loads that we've dispatched that will make you, 10 cents profit a mile. You might have a lot of that, and they'll convince you that it's the easiest, greatest, latest, greatest thing. But you really got to dive into it, and it could be overwhelming. So, that's why I tell people get your experience. I say be a driver for, at least 5 years before you decide you want to be an owner. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. James Best is one of those people. He became business owner pretty quickly in his trucking career, but you got to have the mindset to be able to do that, and not a lot of people have that. But the carrier will make you think that you got that. Now, can that be developed? Yes, but you got to make sure that there's room for error. In other words, you're not using this to completely support your livelihood. So, because there's a lot to learn. And if it's just easier for a lot of people. Well, I'm going to just be an owner operator for a mega carrier because they handle all that. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If the mega carrier is giving you a fair rate and you're getting good equipment and you're not a slave to the vehicle or to the company. Bill, what's up? Hey, all, what's going on? Are you making your way to warmer weather this week, Stuart? Yeah, it's supposed to be like in the 60s here today. So that cold front is kind of that moved through with all these thunderstorms. It's still warmer than what's going on in the north there. Stuart, what's up? Steve, multiple pick and drops should pay 5 times more than one pick, one drop. However, in today's tight market, multi may pay a bit more, but not 1.5 times. That is true. And I agree with that statement. usually when I'm looking at a multi stop delivery, they're right at what the DAT 30-day average is. And I mean, they do it on purpose while everybody else is 20% low. So usually I can get them up a little bit. It depends on where it's going. It depends on the broker, because I've got one broker out of Wisconsin that does multi stops, and I usually get a good rate from her. Same thing with my guy down in Georgia. But as the Georgia market softened, because at one time last summer, man, it was booming. Like you got a good rate going in and out of Georgia. It was awesome. Even with the lower rates and the higher fuel, you were still doing better because the ports were booming down there. So the Savannah ports sucked up the Atlanta market. So the Atlanta market was actually pretty good. Load to truck ratio was in our favor. Um, but not so much now. And so the freight that I do out of there has dropped, but it's still about 20% better than the rest of the market. So let's see here. Appreciate the live yesterday. The birds in the background really pulled it together. I switched to contract this week, not going back to spot anytime soon. Truck to carry. Yeah, I saw your comment on the other channel. I was feeling insightful. So, but James had run other businesses before trucking, right? Not everyone has that kind of experience. Probably why he was able to make it work. And that's the thing. I've got a buddy of mine that got his own authority, and he was an ex business owner, and he's got it down. Where he lacked in truck driving experience, he got with he was able to overcome with his business experience. So wheel burner, Steve, I need a wrench. There are a couple people in your chat. I'm trying to check out their channels. Let me try something here. Now there's like two different moderator options. That's interesting. There you go. You should be good to go. That one guy, some say hard landing coming mid-year. Not sure what that means. It's plausible. Says, and here's the thing. So it's the favorite phrase of YouTubers. Um, there are people that can start with $20 and become extremely profitable. And there are people that can have all their ducks lined up in a row and then fail within the first year. And what happens is the person that has the wrong mindset looks at the person that did it with $20 and say, well, he did it, so I can. That was me. I literally started my business on $2,000 that I charged to a credit card. Went into the dealership, wheeled and dealed, found the truck, put $2,000 down, used my credit card to do it, and away I went. And I figured it out. There was some hardships, and most of the hardships were probably unnecessary, but they were good lessons. Every hardship that you encounter is a lesson. It's how you handle that lesson. And so you have people that don't have any ducks in their row, that don't have any business being in business, that look at the guy and says, "Well, so and so did it. He only had $20," or "So and so did it. He only had a year's experience." And but do you have the same mindset as that person? No. Have you talked to said person? How did you go from $20 to owning 4 trucks and having your own authority? How did you do that? And then if they tell you, cool. If they don't, then, you know, find somebody else. What do you consider a hard landing? That one guy. Yeah, I had the same question. Wheelburner, you're welcome. I'm surprised I didn't. I think, I think I didn't. I don't know why I didn't have a wrench. I know I got a wrench on your channel, so I apologize for that. That was inconsiderate of me. I apologize. Fate Trucking, morning, Steve and chat. Wheelburner Express. Um. So yeah, let's look at some other stuff here. So let's look at reefer, and then we'll hit some cities. So reefer, Arizona is red, which is rare. Usually Arizona is better for reefer than for van coming out. I'm sorry. Let's look at Missouri here. St. Louis to Little Rock. Here we go. Springfield to Waldron, Arkansas. I don't even know where that is. I guess it's going to tell me it's just south of Fort Smith. That's a no man's land. Let's see. Actually, no, that's going to be. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that's a no man's land there. So you're looking at trying to get some out of Fort Smith, which Fort Smith can't, it's not too bad of an area for reefer. So it gives you the zip code, drive time, gives you the toll cost, estimated toll costs. I don't know how accurate that is because I know in the Northeast it varies. So that's above $3 a mile on that one. Let's see, Joplin, Ontario, California. I don't know if I would do this. This doesn't pick up till March 3rd. And you got I love that phrase, palletized freight of all kinds. That doesn't tell you jack nothing. A lot of Joplin, Ontario. So BMM Logistics obviously has Joplin, Ontario. So let's say that you lived in California and you needed to get home and you're sitting here in Missouri. Well, guess what? BMM Logistics, they may not have the load on the day that you're requesting, but you can call them, get on their list, and ask them, well, obviously you have these pretty often. I go to California all the time from Missouri. Let's say you've got a dedicated run that goes from California to Missouri. This is how you set the backhaul up. Now you never have to worry about it. I mean, to a certain extent. So, Bloomfield, Missouri to Laramie, Wyoming. KLM Logistics. I'm pretty sure that they've brokered this because they don't want to put their own trucks in Wyoming. They'd rather somebody else take the risk. And if you're in this area, Laramie, you're looking at Denver to come out pretty much for the most part. So you better get your rate going in. Here's I know what this is. St. Louis to Eau Claire. It's going to be beer. Now, a couple of months ago, this was paying $1,000. Notice they're right at the average. So I'd be curious to bring up that and see if I can find the same load to see if they're right at the 30-day average on that. But obviously, the loads you probably get 900 for this one. But the times, usually the beer shipment times are at night, and they need it delivered the next morning. So you're looking at a 530 miles. So you're looking at an all-night drive on this one. But it gets you into a good market. So, with and it can go on a van or reefer, so it's going to be cheaper than normal. Reefer freight. Um, so, uh, oh wait, hold on. I missed some comments here. Truck with T-Bone, good morning. Red Top Rich, good morning. Most of the time when you tell a story like starting my business for $20, they call you a liar, so why bother? What's up, Mr. Brenner? Hard landing when it gets so bad they can't manipulate the numbers enough and admit the recession layoffs. I think that they don't admit those numbers because they don't want people to panic. The way social media is now, everybody's going to panic, right? So, the wife and I were out driving around Saturday. We were shopping ourselves, and everybody was out and about. It was crazy. So you couldn't tell that we were in a recession just by driving around, looking at all the consumers. So, check reefer on the East Coast. I recommend not going out there if you don't have connections. Thoughts? I agree with that. So let's do that. Let's do that just for fate. So let's do Baltimore. Oops. Baltimore, Maryland. We'll do a 200-mile radius going anywhere. We'll do it for today and tomorrow and Wednesday. Apply. And we'll do it for reefer. And doink. So let's go by the highest rate here. They're paying $226 a mile to go out to Olympia, Washington from Wilmington. Tacoma's paying $6,400. So you're looking at $233 a mile, $229. And so you're in the 230s going out west, or you could do California for $1.86 a mile. Here's one for $237 a mile going to Ogden, Utah. Rates out of the Northeast have always been lower, especially if you're going all the way west. Like here's one, Suffolk, Virginia to Twin Falls, Idaho. They're offering $1.47 a mile. The normal average is 202. Says it's a full load, 40,000 pounds. So as we get down lower, we're looking at $1.63, $1.72. It's tough to break $2 a mile out of the Northeast, especially in van. So your best bet is multi-stops coming out of the Northeast, or you take a short hit to Ohio and try to get out of there. But as you can see, there's nothing going to Ohio. It's all longer stuff. So and it's all been posted ahead of time. So I like to filter from newest. Here's one for today. Eddystone, Pennsylvania to Salisbury, North Carolina. Got two stops. One in Glassboro, New Jersey, and one in Salisbury, North Carolina. So you should be getting a better rate than normal. And yes, their offer rate is higher than the average. Who's the broker on this? Triple T. I notice I don't see a whole lot of Triple T loads on DAT. They're pre-approved by Thunder. I've never used them. All right, I'm back. So 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 you can view the Northeast as kind of a backhaul market to come out of, and so yeah, you want your connections. And look, the time to make connections was 3 months ago. All those emails of brokers trying to give you their lists, wanting you to bid on something or to secure something. You know, they're no longer emailing you. So I need to check out Your Insurance Live. Just renewed this month, third year, finally under that 1,000-month mark. Good deal. Yeah, it's last night's live feed, so check it out. Loadsmith Gas has Rolla to Fulton listed for 500 a day. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of the short stuff in my area. See, that used to be a profitable run. I mean, it still is, but I mean, the profit margin's down about 20%. I mean, that used to be a $900 run, $800, $700 if it was a lower time of year. So that there's yeah, that's and the water loads coming out of Kansas City have done the same thing. And my loads coming out of Arkansas that went up to Sedalia have done the same thing. Now, if you notice how these are all updating in live real time, I'm not even touching it. Wheelburn Express, CDM Freight Broker at Gmail, or Steve can give me my number offline. There you go. Did somebody say beer? Beer. There's already layoffs going on. I know for a fact FedEx Freight just did layoffs. They call 3 furloughs. I have a buddy of mine that just left FedEx. That yeah, that he was basically laid off. Adam I, good morning. What do you see from Statesville, North Carolina to Minnesota in a van? Let's do that. For today, I'm assuming. We'll just put Minneapolis here. And we'll do a 250-mile radius Minneapolis for the next 3 days. And we'll do it for van. There you go. Quite a bit. Let's do highest rate. Highest rate is Lenoir, North Carolina to Bloomington, Minnesota. $1.77 a mile. USA Trucks got that, so they're going to be pretty firm on that, especially if it's one of their contracts. Building supplies, so you might be able to get a little bit more money. But the Southeast has always been kind of soft. But 43,000 pounds, that might be a generic weight. Who knows what construction supplies is? Here we go. Everything else is going towards Wisconsin. So not much going to the actual state of Minnesota, but so if we reduce this radius, let's do. Oh, it is reduced. So yeah, let's increase the radius. Some stuff going to Nebraska. Yeah, that might be too much of an increase. Fort Lawn, South Carolina to Fulton, Missouri. So yeah, so we need to adjust that. We'll just do 100-mile radius of Minneapolis. Not much, man. You got to load the Bloomington, Eau Claire, Winona. Obviously, there's a bunch of these Fountain Inn, South Carolina to Wisconsin, Rapids, Wisconsin. Here's a Gainesville, Georgia. That's almost 200 miles away, going to Minneapolis for Wednesday. So not a whole lot. So morning from the St. Johns River. We're definitely at the bottom now. Let's see how long we scrape bottom. I'm planning on lasting until 2025, but I'm hopeful it recovers sooner. Yeah, I mean, look, have a plan in place just in case it don't. You know, that was kind of the purpose of one of my live feeds last week was what are you going to do if you're, if we are at these rates? Hope is a bad plan sometimes. Any suggestions how I can stop drowning this bait instead of catching fish? Live well. Live well. Oh wait, no, I drowned the bait. So, well, find a different spot. My dad used to go to Bass Pro to see how the fish were acting to see if he wanted to go fishing. Sometimes he thought he was a fish whisperer, but unfortunately, I don't think he was. He was a good fish though. He was a good fish guy. We are not at the bottom. People are still complaining about first world problems. Yeah, that's a thing. Recession or not, just do what you can control. Pointless fretting about stuff which you're not able to change. And that's the approach you got to have. Look, if you're looking at buying a truck, let's say you're looking at buying a truck and you're looking at the rates and it brings you anxiety, well, guess what? Don't do it. Um, and if you are seeing that, if you don't think that we're at bottom and you don't think that rates are going to pick up and that brings you anxiety, use that anxiety, use that to pain to make changes so you don't have as much anxiety. Look at the things that you can control and then go from there. Coffee time, Pale Rider TV. It's about time he got up. In the house, everyone have a blessed and safe day, Tennessee. Good on you. Thank you. These rates are here to stay. It will inch up a bit. So you have to ask yourself what's sustainable, right? Obviously, 98 cents a mile or 72 cents a mile, like I was seeing out of Denver, that's not sustainable. So you just have to look at what is sustainable, and you're going to have to make some adjustments and make moves from there. You know, I know several people that are doing some power only stuff to stay off the low boards for the next 3 months, and that to me is a good strategy. And now you're not worried about it. Now you know what you're going to get, and you know what's coming, and you can prepare. You know, it kind of insulates you a little bit. So, not a good time to buy a truck unless it's Steve's truck. That's a well-oiled machine. Yeah, the APU's out there running now. I need to hook up the charger. Jose, you should rephrase it. The rates are back to normal, right? There's going to be a lot more than fretting going on with this coming recession. Yeah, but look, here's the deal. I don't dwell on that because I'm 51 years old and I've been through recessions, and people say, well, it's going to be different this time, which every recession's different. And every down market that we've had in the spot market is different. Every down market in the trucking industry, with contract rates, that's different. And contract rates are coming down, by the way. So that's just the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the game that everybody is signed up for. And that's I know people that will leave their truck in the driveway and go drive company for a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. If it allows you to keep your truck and pay the bills and your family's not worried about what they're going to eat tomorrow, then you're good to go. So that there's always different strategies that are going on. And and we got spoiled the last 2 years. And to be honest with you, that was probably a contributor to inflation. When shipping containers go from $2,000 to $14,000, all the small businesses took a hard hit, and now they're having to charge more. All the shortages have created supply issues that jacked everything up. And I knew that, when you saw the ports backed up, I knew that that was a ticking time bomb. And by that, I mean, once they were caught up and everything was warehoused, that our rates were going to drop like they have. I mean, but so that's where the difference is. But until we lose more trucks and volume comes up a little bit, rates are going to be here for a while. And so how do you deal with that? You can't change that. You can yell at the guy next to you taking that load for $1 a mile all day long. It's not going to do you any good. What are you doing with your business? So, I mean that's kind of how I look at it. And I'm constantly thinking, what if I have to get back in the truck full time? What would I be doing? And I have that strategy in my head. And I look at the patterns, I look at the brokers, that there's a big possibility that if I do it right, I wouldn't even have to call a broker. I mean, I wouldn't have to look at a low board. I'd call my brokers. What do you got? Cool, I'll be right there. We are not at the bottom. Don't be foolish, says Sean. Unfortunately, like Stuart said, the rates have just gone back to normal. Unfortunately, the cost of everything else has gone up. The rates just haven't gone up to match it. And that's true. There was a time where running from Kansas City to Springfield was $600. That was profitable. Now, with the price of fuel, it's not as much. And so when I'm looking at loads, I'm looking at times, right? I'm looking at the time. So you can look at a cost per day approach, revenue per day, and if and sometimes that's what you have to look at. So, but you got to do your net, your gross cost, your gross cost per day and your net cost per day. So, I don't think it's going to be easy to get a company job for what's coming, Storm. Yes, I mean, look, a lot of the carriers are going to start, having stricter hiring practices. The bonuses are going to go away. I mean, I started as a company driver in 2008, right before that recession, and the company I was with, they'd done a pay decrease for everybody in the office. They took away all the bonuses. They took away the longevity bonus, which some guys were getting $6,000 a year for that, and they're paying a little bit below average than what the rest of the company drivers were paying in the area. But they persevered. They got through it. They went from 500 trailers to 300 trailers. They went from 150 trucks to about 125. So I mean, everybody makes adjustments, and that's what has to happen. That's just how it works. So that's the nature of the business. Ask any business, trucking or not. They're I know a guy that owned a record store for 5 years, didn't profit anything. His family had to kind of hold him up, and meanwhile, last year was one of the highest grossing years for records, believe it or not. So, I mean, it's just you never know. Must be 8 o'clock. My YouTube's going crazy. We don't make money with on truck. We make a paycheck with a good lifestyle. There you go. Wheelberber, you hit the bullseye on what's happening. Don says, thanks for the live. Lord of Snores, future here is looking bright in this dark time. There you go. That's the attitude you need to have right there. I've got a couple of drivers I call, man. They're always bright and sunny, even though they're facing the same hardships everybody else was. The thing that's going to take people out right now is if you overpaid for equipment last year and you can't afford to maintain it. That's going to take you out. If your insurance goes too high, it's going to take you out. If you're driving a low fuel mileage truck and fuel goes back up to $5-6 a gallon, that's going to take you out. That's the reality of the situation. So you have to make adjustments and move accordingly. Refinance that truck. Get rid of some of the luxuries at home for now. Boats and RVs that use, maybe 3 or 4 times a year. Those aren't assets, those are liabilities. And I would love to have a boat, but the maintenance and the time. I mean, look, if you're having to hustle to make the payment and you never have time to enjoy it, that doesn't do you good. That's why I don't go out and buy an RV. So, I mean, we go camping, the wife goes camping like 2 or 3 times a year at most. And so to make a $200 a month payment for an RV, especially in times when, get rid of some of them streaming apps that you got. Get rid of that Sirius XM or call them up and say, hey, times are tough, and they'll give you 6 months to a year of like $6 a month. Read a book instead of watching Netflix, that kind of thing. And that's and it's through suffering, it's through struggle that you're going to become stronger. It's that simple. And so let's pretend you didn't set up. Let's say you didn't plan accordingly. Well, guess what? There's still hope. There's still hope that you can pull this out of the bag, because as Wilburn pointed out, these are normal rates. But it's the cost of everything that is out of control, and that's what you have to try to control. You can't control the rates. You can't yell at the other person to say stop taking cheap freight. The only way you control the rates is if you stay at home. Well, can your business afford to be off for 3 months? Most people don't have that luxury. And if you're signed on with somebody like a small carrier, like trucking, that doesn't do the carrier any good. All you're doing is taking up insurance money. All you're doing is taking up a space from someone that wants to run. So, that's it's all about attitude. My goal is to get the truck paid off this year. There's potential I might even be hiring an owner op. Don. I can almost assure that this economy will make a dramatic change for the better with the new presidential administration that will reopen pipelines and stop sending money to Ukraine. Only time will tell. But until that happens, you gotta manage what we have now. Life in trucking is hard as you allow it to be. Adapt or perish. I really don't think we're at the bottom either, says Lance. A boat is nothing but a hole in the water to throw money into. But hey, if you got the money, start throwing, says Wheelburner. That one guy I have a paid off 16-foot deleted Cascadia. 16. Delete Cascadia getting 7.5 miles per gallon. There you go. having a 7.5 mile per gallon average is good, but unfortunately, we're coming into an era where you're going to need to be able to run at 8 miles per gallon or better to survive, and that's by design. See, they can put all the regulations on the manufacturers to get that fuel mileage up to 8, but it's possible they know that this was being orchestrated to bring up the fuel prices. So and that's the appeal to the electric trucks, right? Unfortunately, electric trucks don't have enough real world experience. So I would not make that investment simply because it just hasn't been tested yet. I mean, yeah, there's electric trucks out there, but let them go a couple of years, see what happens, see what the expenses are. You're not going to be able to get hard data on the expense per mile on those things until it's done. Until for another 2 years, right? So yeah, amen. CB, my grandfather said he's gone so long with so little that he could do anything with practically nothing. There you go. And that's kind of the attitude that I think that's why the older guys tend to survive a little bit better. Doug Kelly became a YouTube member. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. I can get 9 out of this truck if I do 55, and yes, I'm doing that. There you go. Find what works. Find the sweet spot of the truck, right? So let's go back to the load availability map. Let's go back to density. We do not show flatbed. 48065, by the way, for the 123 low board. If you want to check it out free for 30 days. See if it's to your liking. If it is, it's $35 a month for all the tools. You have all these tools over here that I don't even like show off a whole lot of. Jeff is a lot better at that than I am. You got your profit calculator. You have mileage calculator. You've got a document storage. You can post your truck. And then you can show the companies that you got, that you've onboarded with, your favorite brokers, and the brokers you've blocked and hidden. I mean, you have to pay big bucks at DAT to do that. You got load planner, which you can string together multiple loads. But it is a tool. And then if you do some online bidding, you've got that. So I mean, you've got all kinds of great tools that you have to pay the DAT big bucks for. Now, is the volume as high as DAT? No, but it's a low board, an additional tool nonetheless. So, and I have booked loads off of this. There was a time where I didn't, but that was when I had 3 or 4 brokers doing a lot of the work for me. So, electronic trucks have been tested and they failed. I agree with that. You're welcome. I really enjoy your channel, Doug. You offer great clarity to trucking and life for that matter. Thank you, Doug. Right now, that is the best way to go, Don. And so did the automobile versus the horse and buggy at first. Wheel burner, yeah, it's got a wide range. Look, the electric truck, I don't get in those arguments because there's a lot of impracticalities to it and there's a lot of practicalities to it, and they haven't addressed everything. So I believe in some instances it's a great platform, but if you're there's just too many unknowns, so it's tough. And so I'm not going to deny their existence. I'm not going to deny that it's not going to eventually overcome. But I would talk to the people that have had electric cars for a while, all the Tesla owners. What do they think about the situation? And I imagine it just depends on what the charging's costing, and that's why you need real data. So, a good full 2 years on an electric truck to see if to see what the cost per mile is. And there you go. If I do 70, I barely get 7. That's the other thing. Slow down. And look, they might be throwing the speed limiters on us. So if that happens, it just depends. What are you driving? Driving people crazy is what I'm doing, Stuart. I tested the whole scope of different speeds at different RPMs to find my money pocket. I found that 66 miles an hour with my truck gets me 8.8 to 9.1 miles per gallon. It's about how you have your truck set up. That is a big factor as well. 2015 Freightliner Cascadia with ISS 2.47 liters. And that's the thing. My truck is an X Prime truck, so it likes that 63. That's how Prime geared it. And so that's what seems to get me the most fuel mileage. So every truck has a sweet spot. Depends on the gearing, and also when it's winter blend right now, guys. So winter blend fuel is not as good as regular fuel. So when you have to treat it, and that's what winter blend is treated fuel. Treated fuel does not have the same mileage as untreated fuel. So, but anyways, guys, I'm going to get off here. There's a few things I need to get done, and I have a couple of trucks I got to tend to. So if you guys don't mind, hit the thumbs up on the way out, and we'll probably see you Wednesday. I'm going to take a break from this YouTube thing for tomorrow. So we'll see you guys later. Make sure you tune in to last night's show if you want to learn about some truck insurance stuff, and check out truck insurance on YouTube. And 48065 on the 123 low board. And if you want to support the channel, here's the info below. I appreciate everybody. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Peace.